we're digging deeper into issues with water services in many parts of our area.
Yeah, right now the Public Service Commission has several pending cases across smaller public service districts across the state of West Virginia. Well, our Daniel Burbank, he's actually joining us live in studio. Daniel, what can you tell us regarding this detailed paper trail?
Well, I can tell you, Gina and Peyton, that residents at certain smaller public service districts say issues have continued year after year for decades. In early January, Eyewitness News reported about a since-deleted social media post from Mingo County PSD. The utility shut off service to customers because of inclement weather preventing the effective treatment of water.
And Daniel, with that water issue, I mean, these issues in Mingo County, they just continue. How is the state leaders, how are they reacting to this public service district along with the plans for this change?
Well, yeah, Peyton, while gathering elements for this special report, the West Virginia Public Service Commission announced it's launching an investigation into Mingo County Public Service District and issued 3 press releases about 2 separate troubled water utilities. But water customers are experiencing problems in other counties, too. In fact, take a listen to how some reacted more than an hour after being packed into a Lincoln County Public Service District board meeting.
Everybody needs to stand together on this because the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Tonight, we're looking into the impact water utilities are having on its customers and a possible solution for one PSD.
West Virginia has more than 110 publicly owned water districts throughout the state, according to the latest data from the West Virginia Public Service Commission. Some of these facilities handle as little as 17 customers in its district. Throughout the past year, Mingo County Public Service District customers say they've continued facing issues surrounding water availability or discolored water.
We have no water.
That was homeowners speaking out last year at a county commission meeting. Fast forward to 2025, customers are still experiencing water outages, sometimes for days. They shared their stories at the Warrencliffe Volunteer Fire Department.
I've had to call off work to be here because they're overwhelmed with calls and trying to distribute water and everything else. They need help with accountability and all that.
On January 23rd, the Public Service Commission opened an investigation into Mingo County PSD because of reported prolonged water outages and to, quote, determine whether the district is unable to adequately service its customers, has been effectively abandoned by its management.
These are nagging problems that have gone on year after year after year. We need to solve these problems.
The commission is also investigating whether or not the district should be taken over.
By January 29th, the Public Service Commission releasing another statement, moving up the hearing date for Mingo PSD to April 14th, citing a concern for public health.
But what happens when a PSD is declared a failing utility? According to the PSC, an agency spokesperson says this might allow the system to be acquired by another utility. Marietta Hale has lived in Lincoln County for about 20 years. She's one of several publicly speaking out against Lincoln PSD.
It's time that we speak up and that we get something done. Something has to be resolved around here. People can't live without water.
At a recent PSD board meeting, community members packed into the small office building demanding answers about why their water supply has been unreliable or non-existent during the month of January. This is not the first time Lincoln PSD has been in the hot seat. According to documents obtained by Eyewitness News from the West Virginia Public Service Commission, in early 2021, the PSC staff opened an investigation into whether Lincoln PSD was a distressed or failing utility. By the fall of that year, the commission concluded that Lincoln PSD is distressed but not failing and recommended the utility board prepare a corrective action plan. However, by 2023, Lincoln PSD was ordered before the commission for, quote, blatant disregard of PSC orders. According to a PSC spokesperson, if the commission had declared Lincoln PSD a failing utility, that designation would have allowed it to be taken over by another utility. So Lincoln PSD was given the opportunity to file a plan to fix itself. The Service Commission says the utility failed to do so. By early 2025, customers remained without water for up to a week in isolated areas. This issue repeated again the following week.
For most people here that live in the area, haven't trusted drinking the water for several years.
Wendy Beaver found herself as the admin of a community social media group that discusses ongoing water issues within the Lincoln County area.
2 for you and Cindy, and then 2 for Loretta.
When the Lincoln County Commission delivered cases of bottled water to the Alum Creek Volunteer Fire Department, Beaver chose to help guard and hand out water, all while updating her more than 1,400 followers on the situation.
We're not talking that we're back in the 1980s. We now have emails, we have Facebook pages. Most people have cell phones. You know, there should be enough technology out there that they can push notifications on things.
Although none of the posts are affiliated with the actual Lincoln PSD, customers continually say it's one of their only sources for information. That takes us to the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Source Water Protection Map. Data aggregated from several agencies says every water utility mentioned in this story has at least some portion of its district under a zone of critical concern for potential significant contamination. One solution for Lincoln County PSD customers joining West Virginia American Water. The company joined county commissioners at a meeting on January 30th, presenting its plan to buy Lincoln PSD for $12.9 million and add $21 million in improvements to the system over the first 5 years of operation.
If there's an opportunity for us to fix those issues, we want to do everything we can to help. And I think we've had a lot of good discussions with the county commission.
Most Lincoln County customers who spoke to the county commission during a public hearing on the dissolution of Lincoln PSD and potential sale of assets to West Virginia American Water are in favor of the decision, though some customers tell me they're wondering why it took this long.
Look, I've talked with people that said for the past 20 years they've had issues, and if, American Water was willing to have that conversation a decade ago, what took so long to get to this point?
So I've been on the commission for 6 years, and there's been discussion about it for some time. And again, I think you heard some of the rebuttal to West American Water takeover. It's not a slam dunk decision, right? So there's always an argument, back and forth, whether it's the rates, whether it's something that the community wants, and that's what we're here to do, is serve the community. But I think it's reached the tipping point that we needed to have the conversation.
Now, this story is far from over. The Lincoln County Commission will meet on March 6 to vote on the dissolution of Lincoln PSD. The Fayette County Commission is holding 2 public meetings on February 12th and 19th for the acquisition proposal of 3 PSDs. Now, Mingo County Public Service District has not responded to our repeated requests for comment. We also reached out to Governor Morrissey's office, and we'll let you know when we hear back. And by the way, Peyton and Gina, these are just the PSDs in our viewing area. In the studio, Daniel Burbank, Eyewitness News.